I'm not dead. That sounds like something interesting.
We aren't even part of Oregon. We're not part of Idaho. This is its own little separate thing.
Jordan Valley, Oregon. You just passed through it.
The town started around freight that was bringing supplies for the mines at Silver City.
They named the town after Michael Jordan. Not the basketball player.
The pioneer gold miner.
There's no industry here.
Gold and silver mines shut down a few years ago. Cattle ranching still going strong. Tough these days?
Yeah, it is. You know, businesses are having a hard time making a living.
250 folks live inside or close to the city limits of Jordan Valley.
And we don't usually discuss politics a lot here, that or religion. We just don't discuss it here.
Sports and cattle prices, talk all you want.
The governor's race, do you care?
I don't even know who the governor is.
Glenn Fretwell. Born here, let's just leave it at that.
What about your family? How long have they been here?
1898, how long that is. It's a nice place to live.
Old stone buildings, hotels, and businesses once lined Main Street, but the 70s and 80s were not kind to historic preservation. Not much left.
If you want to come in here and buy a business, that's probably not.
I was born here and not smart enough to go anyplace else.
Do you vote?
I don't personally, no.
Why not?
I usually never have time.
I've lived under conditions where another human for a year at a time and liked it.
In Jordan Valley, you don't have to be informed, and no one looks down their nose at you if you're not.
We live here than the other side of the state. The mentality's different. A man from here should never marry a woman from the western part because it'd be a disaster. It'd never work.
For some, comfortably disconnected.
To bring in the world in a wholesale manner like computers do, or even television. I don't have television. Then it's just overwhelming. You know, I'm probably the least informed person in this neighborhood anyway.
And just fine.
And I'm happy with it.
But for city folks wishing to reconnect,
We are in the 8-by-8-foot section in front of the Catholic Church at Jordan Valley, which is the only place I can call you from. And so if I lose them, that's why.
Jordan Valley takes some getting used to.
I don't take the keys out of my car at night. I don't lock my door. I just go to bed and get up in the morning.
One new business is booming. More about Rock House Coffee a little later in our food segment.
You know, we keep thinking for economical purposes, it would be nice to have more people, but for our own peace of mind, we're really comfortable with what we have.
There's way too many people in Jordan Valley for me, I can guarantee you. Population one is more my deal.
Jordan Valley, still an undiscovered gold mine.
What do you think the future is for this place?
Future big, real big. But how far down the line that is, I don't know.
But locals know someone's gonna find out.
There was a fella here last night, he'd never even heard of Jordan Valley, and he's lived in Oregon all his life. This isn't the first time I've heard that story, you know.
Isn't that guy a character? Everybody in the Jordan Valley and beyond knows Glenn Fretwell. And aside from his laugh, he's best known for something he likes to call flint napping. So you're fine, right? This is Katie Hallard,
Hi everyone.
Equinox Real Estate.
That's right, with the Hallett Real Estate team. So, right now our inventory is super low still. We're at 1.7 months worth of inventory. So what that means is if no new homes come on the market, it would take us 1.7 months to sell everything.
Seriously?
Yeah. That's not very much.
So if you're somebody who's retiring or the kids just moved out,
You have a big house, you want to downsize, this is the market to do it in. Or maybe you're in a small house, it's too tiny, you want to move up. There's buyers for every price range, and we need homes listed.
today we are going rafting. So we are putting on our little costumes, and then we're going to go down there to the rafts and down the Yellowstone.
Take a quick break. Good paddling, good paddling. 3 more strokes. 1, 2, 3. Take a quick break, quick break. And take a quick break. All right, guys, we got the big stuff coming up. You guys ready? All forward! Quick break, quick break! All right, all forward! All right, quick break, quick break! All forward! All right, we got some big stuff coming up, guys. Quick break. I get a low momentum through this little section right here. Forward! Let's hit it! Come on, guys! Come on! Yeah! Hey, quick break! That was really fun. You guys did really good paddling. Woo! I thought we were going down on that wave.
That was really
That
crazy.
was ridiculous. That was a lot higher than this morning. You guys ready? All forward, all forward, all forward, all forward, all forward. We want to hit right in the meat right here. All forward, all forward, all forward. Keep going, keep going, keep going. Hey, take a break. Good job. And take a quick break. And now through these horizontals, I want to see how fast we can spin the boat. So we're going to go right side backwards, left side forward. Is everyone ready? Go, right side back, left side forward. Right side back, left side forward. Left side back, left side forward. Keep going. Keep going. Oh, keep going. Keep going. 2 more strokes. 1 and 2. Take a break. Good job. Everyone all right? You holding on tight up there, Elsa? Cool. Woo! Hold on.
You go in? No, you can go.
That's cool. Ooh, that's
Ready, we're going down. Here's your glasses. Don't let go. Ready?
I wasn't expecting my whole head to get sloppy.
You always wanted to do it to your mom, didn't you? You guys, you'll get to do it to your mother someday too.
Maybe not.
Could you replace your home if something happened to it tomorrow? Or if something happened to you, is your family protected? A free insurance and financial review may help answer those questions. Contact me, Leona Houston, your country financial representative in Eugene today.
What we offer is a source of news that can be trusted. It's in an era where everybody's trying to be the first to get the news out. We actually do some research and talk to the sources and get the story and all the details behind the story.
Eugene Dispatch, Carpenter Mountain on for sale. I'm Rob Much. I'm a nature photographer, ecosystem photographer. I've been a fire lookout here at Carpenter Mountain this is my 4th season. 60 degrees, a 65 RH. It's a hygrometer doing the relative humidity and the temperature. So this is a wet bulb and this is a dry bulb. Yeah. This is a fireway. This is the wildland fire. When they're out on the fire line or whatnot, they do it this way. So I'm just a real independent person. I love being outdoors and I like being by myself, so I just love being up here. Thanks a lot, Carpenter Mountain Clear. It's my home, but it's a workplace. The solitude of being outdoors and by myself. Yeah, this was built in 1934, I believe. 1917, this is the first presence up here that I'm aware of, and it was just a large rock pier with a fire finder on it and little housing, and the lookout had a cabin that was down below, a little ridge below us. But it wasn't until 34 they built this structure so they could live up here full time. I believe it was in the 60s that sometimes they were decommissioning a lot of the lookouts around the forests. And then this was rebuilt in the early 90s, I believe. You just can't replace a set of eyes. Anything abnormal, a set of humans will catch it. It's very primal. It touches something in them, and they want to understand that, or they want to know what it's like. They'd like to be out there, but they're kind of stuck at a job or something, and they can't, or you have a family. I think that's kind of what they want to do, is live through other people. And for me, it just means just out in nature, outdoors, and by yourself. For me, alone has to be quite a ways away from other people, not just rural, but like way out in the wilderness. If they were in New York, maybe they go to Central Park, and for them that's, peace and tranquility. And but for me, it has to be, just completely hundreds of miles away from people. I don't hear any cars or any of the planes. People are down in town, and I come down after being up here for a couple of weeks. I'm amazed because there's all the sidewalks and the streets and waters flowing from taps. And you can just go down to the store and you can just buy whatever you want. It's amazing. When you're in town and you live there for a long time, you don't really appreciate that. And so when you come back up here, you kind of unplug or whatnot, and then you get back into town, you kind of appreciate it again. It's kind of an anachronism. It's like we build all this, civilization. It kind of lulls us, and we just kind of forget why we have it, And so then we have this feeling like we want to get out of it, and so it's kind of you yo-yo back and forth. I love being up here, but also, my wife will make fun of me because, she'll say, oh, you couldn't survive without your internet, and which is probably true. Months would be ideal. I would love to come out here for like 6 months.
At Patrick Olson Auto Repair, we always ask ourselves these questions. If it was our kid's car, would we fix it? And does it need it? Safety is always a concern when thinking about repairs, but so is your budget. If your check engine light comes on, bring it in and we'll check it for free. Then we'll show you the problem and discuss your options before we fix it. Patrick Olson Auto Repair, the name you can trust.
Credibility is huge. I mean, you put the facts together and you tell the story, the complete picture, then that builds your credibility. Trust is key, because if they don't trust what it is that you're doing every single week, then they're not going to subscribe to the paper, they're not going to buy the paper, they're going to look for other sources to find the news that they want.
It's early morning near Pacific City, Oregon. The Dory fleet is out in full force. Hundreds of fishermen fishing for silvers, halibut, tuna, rockfish, and the big one,
So you're the official photographer for the Dory fleet?
Official according to them, yeah. I was out here one morning and I took some shots of the boats, and when I got them home I decided I needed to do more.
For more than 100 years, this one-of-a-kind harbor has been home to dorymen.
And it's entirely unique to the rest of the world. There's no other place quite like this that has a harbor like this where they launch and land on the sand and they don't have docks and slips.
The Dory fleet is alive and well in Pacific City.
Actually had a resurgence in the last few years. There's been a resurgence, there's been more boats built.
For 4-year-old Roy and his brother, this is what they do. There's no fear.
And then I'm gonna dump you, okay? Because I bet you if I hit you now, we'll just hit the dry sand. You guys ready? Some salmon? All right.
This guy's gonna dump you.
At about 2 years old around here, they put a life jacket on them and take them in the boat, and they're not afraid, and then they never are after that. They love the boat and the fishing so much because their dad told them that it's their boat too. And he said, I hope they let me go when I'm older.
And once fishing is in your blood, you will always be a fisherman. Sandy Weedman discovered Pacific City fishing with her dad more than 60 years ago.
It's changed a lot. There used to be 2 sporting goods stores, what was it, Hungry Harbor, Wilma's, and
Sunset Bay.
Sunset West.
West, yeah.
And that was about it.
Now, she does what she can to help the fleet.
I don't live here, but I live in Salem, but I'm here on the weekends, only because there's more boats for me.
The record breaker is always the big story, and this guy is today's winner.
What I will tell you, about our food is that we prepare everything from scratch. So we make sure we hire people that have the passion for making food. That's one of the ingredients. The other one, we make sure that our recipes, they use the ingredients that we tell them to use. And before we put it into the market, we make sure we test, try it. What I love about this business is the people. I'm a people person, so I love to interact with people, and I love to make people feel good.
So here's the best part at Ranchito Grill. Every month they give away 2 free dinners to some lucky winner, and all you have to do is go in there, have dinner, fill out a little piece of paper with your name and your phone number on it, stick it in the Rick Dancer box, and we draw a name out every month and have a winner. French Glen is our last stop on this trip through Oregon's outback. It is remote, but the valley influence is much more apparent here. Something about the Steens Mountains seems to separate the West from Oregon's far east.
Everybody sort of walks a balancing act or something, trying to figure out exactly how to get along with everybody.
Longtime ranchers whose families homesteaded here.
In the summer here, we're fairly busy. I see over 10,000 people a year in the hotel.
And the tourists and newcomers who may define themselves as environmentalists. French Glen has been rediscovered.
Around 1920, they moved the store. It was a little commons like the Pea Ranch. They moved basically the whole town here away from the Pea Ranch to make a headquarters.
French Glen was first called Some Range.
Cattle rancher Pete French and his father-in-law Hugh Glenn started the town in 1872, these round barns.
There were 3 of this particular design.
To train teams of horses, a revolutionary idea for its time. Historian, rancher, and landowner Dick Jenkins tells the tale of Pete French's final day.
He was a very forceful person, and that's what met his demise. He had thumped on this neighboring homesteader several times prior.
And the neighbor killed French on the spot. His legacy, the barns, and the town that bears his name.
You know, when you drive through town, it really doesn't look a whole lot different.
That's John Ross, caretaker of the French Glen Hotel.
The hotel's gotten a little bigger, but the outhouse has moved, and that's about it.
The local store is open sometimes. Gas, yeah, if you call ahead or hit it at the right time. That could change if a new owner steps in.
Make it known it's up for sale.
There's a school, less than 10 people who live in town, a few homes, a shop that opens, we think. The Steens Mountain became famous back in 2000. Landowners and environmentalists cut a deal. A management act to protect the mountain and allow ranchers to still graze animals here to avoid creating a national monument.
They'll fight, but I mean, they do realize that sometimes you have to get together and work on things. And that's sort of a unique thing that's happened here. I mean, I'm not going to say that they get along on everything, because they don't.
Some ranchers now close off their property that you spent.
They may not do things, you know, perfect all the time, but they're trying to be as good to the land as possible. Some folks, you know, come from the valley and see something that they don't like, you know, and they're sitting there, well, you can't do them. Well, yeah, we can, and you can't come on here now.
So what is it about this country, about that mountain or Kiger Gorge that still brings people here? From the valley floor, it's just a mountain. In mid-June, when we were there, the snow closed the road. Only way in, on foot.
This is going to be a long hike going up there.
Wait, they said about 3 miles. See that look on John's face? That's what doubt looks like. 3 miles up? He didn't say any more. We camera, a big camera, the tripod, and we walked to the top. By the way, it wasn't 3 miles, it was more like 4.5. That's 9 miles up and back. So why make the climb? For that picture, what a view. This is what ranchers and environmentalists fight to protect. A way of life and a mountain.
Wide open spaces, a lot of people like it. A lot of people are like almost scared of it. I mean, you know, they come out and they're looking around and there's nothing for them. No cars, no people, no houses. If they drive through at night, there's no lights anywhere, and it freaks them out.
This is what makes French Glen such a gem. It's the front door to Oregon's outback, unless you live in the outback. In that case, the Steens is your first line of defense. It's almost time to head home from Oregon's outback. Stay with us. We want to show you our photo album and some of the other things that we learned on our trip. Oregon's outback. It's harsh, dry, and empty. I was expecting it to be remote, but not that remote. But rather than drive by a road stop, you pull in, you ask a few questions, you find another world. When you got all those people together, you realize that there really are these little communities. You don't have to have a neighborhood like we have in the West to have a community.
I like the people here. The people are the greatest in the world. If I want something, all I got to do is go ask somebody for it. I've got it.
Their housing developments are thousands of acres, whereas ours are right next door to each other. And yet, to me, they seemed much closer to their neighbors and connected to their land and to the people and what they're doing there more together than we do in the West.
If you lived in Portland and your pickup broke down, you went across the street and took your neighbors out there, you'd probably go to jail. But it's not that way here. We'll know each other, and they trust each other.
I never knew they were there. I thought it was all desert land filled with tumbleweed and antelope. And all of a sudden you go there and you find out that there are human beings, families, lives that have been there for 150 years, and they are very opinionated, and they feel very distrustful of us in the West, and they feel very much like we don't pay attention to them and we're just there to come in and tell them what they're doing wrong, as if we know what they're doing wrong.
Everybody is yet the same. We're all struggling. I mean, we are all going to that same common goal, you know, to get as many live calves on the ground and have them be fat. And just, you know, if I say we get up at 6 o'clock in the morning, they say, you know, I better beat them up. And they do. I mean, it is so cool.
The other thing I think that got me a lot was the simplicity. They're so simple, not simple-minded, but just
this is all we know, though. This is it. We wouldn't function well in a city.
I don't even know who the governor is. I do not know who the governor is.
They don't have time to care about all the politics of the world and all the goings-on and who's saying what and what the governor's deciding or what legislators are doing, although they have to pay attention to that more. They're too busy.
You know what helped us more than anything? Hurricane Katrina. People donated their money to Hurricane Katrina, and they didn't donate them to local environmental groups where they could sue the socks off of us.
The supplies, and kind of don't have a problem with the isolation. But when we need something, we have to go so far to get it.
Every place we go is a long ways.
And there's something about simplicity in life, to me, that is like a magnet. It's so attractive to me because our lives are so complex in the valley and in our business, and we're so worried about, you know, making this work and make that work. You walk away from there after 6 days and you think, I really think they understand life better than I do, because they know what really is important, and that's hard work, that's taking care of your land, it's taking care of your neighbors, and living life.